My name is Danny Penman. I'm the co-author of bestseller Mindfulness: Finding Peace in a Frantic World. It's been translated into 34 or 35 languages now. So whichever language you speak, you should be able to get a copy of it, I hope. Mindfulness is quite simply full conscious awareness of whatever is going on around you, your mind, and so your thoughts and feelings and emotions and everything that's going on around you. So it's really just pure awareness. There's nothing magical or mystical or strange about it. It's our natural state of being, really. Well, the benefits of mindfulness stem mostly from mindfulness meditation. And over the long run, it's been shown to greatly reduce the levels of anxiety, stress, and depression. In fact, quite a few clinical trials now have shown that mindfulness meditation, or mindfulness in general, is at least as good as drugs or counselling for the worst forms of depression. And it's great for anxiety and stress too. And mindfulness itself, that state of mind, is traditionally cultivated using mindfulness meditation. And these are incredibly simple to learn. I mean, the most simple of all mindfulness exercises is sitting down on a chair, closing your eyes, and focusing on the sensations of breathing as the air flows into and out of your body. And from that stems this wonderful state of mind. Each time you realize your mind has wandered, you just bring your awareness back to the sensations of breathing, and it just cultivates this wonderful state of mind known as mindfulness. And it's just great clarity of awareness. That's a very broad question. It's not a panacea. What it can do is, I believe, if you reduce anxiety, stress, and depression levels across the whole of the population, you're clearly going to make a happier population. And people who are happier tend to make better decisions. Simple as that. If people are desperate, they will go for desperate political choices, and they will be exploited by very, very unscrupulous characters. So I think if a population is more mindful, they're going to make better decisions about who they put in power. And also, there is a massive cost, healthcare cost to having a stressed and depressed population. I think the UN, or the World Health Organization, estimates that in a very few years, the second biggest health burden in the world will be depression. It is not just a first world problem. It is not just a problem for Northern Europeans. It always surprises me that this is a global problem. There is something about being human in the modern world that lends itself to triggering depression. You've got that aspect of it, but I also think it's a very good way of solving conflicts. I think even in the most intractable of conflicts, if people can take a step back, understand that their opponents are actually human too, they might not agree with their opponent's aims and objectives, but they can at least agree on certain basic things, such as, everybody wants to be free, everybody wants to look after their children and provide them with the basics of life, and they want to help their communities, whatever that community is. And as soon as they understand actually the person who opposing them has pretty much the same aims and objectives, can then seek areas of compromise, initially on the margins, but eventually you begin to build trust. And trust is the most important thing of all. You cannot trust your opponent to implement, say, a peace accord, or even, on the most basic level, you're never going to get peace. You know, I don't mean blind trust. I don't mean stupidity. I mean, what does it say in the Quran? Isn't it? Trust in Allah, but tie your camels up at night. You know, I think that's a good approach, and I think mindfulness can build that basic level of trust. I think it's got huge potential for helping governments, not just MPs, but bureaucrats, to make better decisions, because it kind of builds lots of basic skills that we all need to operate in complex organizations. You know, it builds empathy, understanding for another person's position. It teaches us to respond rather than react, which is hugely important. Um, but it just takes us off the hair trigger. You know, we're all, if you're fighting, not just physical fighting, but if you're in locked in mental combat in an organization, you can develop tunnel vision. You know, you can develop a fixation on your ultimate aim. And what mindfulness helps you to do is to broaden your awareness. And that's been shown to enhance creativity and problem solving, you know, which is hugely important. The world faces so many difficult, complex problems that actually what mindfulness can do, it can just help us bring a fresh mind to problems. And I think that is hugely important. And I think it's 120 MPs in the British Parliament have been taught mindfulness so far, using our book as well. And, you know, this is right across political parties. You know, all the political parties in the UK are, you know, some of their MPs are doing this. In fact, one of the main advocates for mindfulness in politics is a guy called a Labour MP, I think he is, and his name is Chris Ruane.
My name's Chris Ruane. I'm the Member of Parliament for the Vale of Clwyd seat in North Wales in the United Kingdom. And for 15 years, I was a teacher in a primary school. For 18 years, I was a Member of Parliament. Then I lost an election. I was out for 2 years, and I've been back for 18 months. I practiced mindfulness myself for 6 years using apps and podcasts and YouTube and books. And then I thought I'd benefited from it, so I decided I'd take it to Parliament because I'd benefited. I wanted to pass this on to other politicians in the high-stress Houses of Parliament. And so I approached Lord Professor Richard Layard, who is a professor of the London School of Economics and is a world expert on well-being. He wrote the book Happiness: A New Science, The Good Childhood, and Thrive. So I knew he was interested in well-being, and I knew he would be well connected. So I approached Richard in 2012, and he put me in contact with Oxford University and Professor Mark Williams, who wrote the book with Danny Penman on mindfulness, Peace in a Frantic World. So Mark came down to Parliament with Chris Cullen, a fantastic teacher, 13 years ago. In January, we just had the 6th anniversary. And since that time, 220 politicians from the House of Commons and the House of Lords have received that training, and 400 members of their staff. And in a separate initiative, which I wasn't responsible for, 3,000 senior civil servants in Whitehall received mindfulness training. They'd felt the benefits themselves. And Gandhi says, be the change you want to see. So many of them said, I've experienced this myself. Why don't we take what we've benefited from into the prisons, into the education system, the health service, and the workplace? So we had a parliamentary inquiry called Mindful Nation, and that's available online. So we did this in the United Kingdom Parliament. And in 2014, I was asked to go and speak at the Google 2.0 Wisdom Conference in Dublin. This was the first time that this Google conference had been held outside of the United States. And it was in Dublin, and I spoke at this event about what we'd done in Parliament, about our report and our practice. And there were 300 people there from 60 different countries. And at the end of at the end of that my talk, there were people from 15, 20 different countries that asked me if I could help introduce it into their parliament. And over the next 2 or 3 years, I was able to make connections with those people. To date, I think we've introduced it to 14 different countries around the world, different parliaments around the world. And there's another, I think about another 36 countries where they want to introduce mindfulness into their parliaments. Mindfulness for me has given me various skills. It's given me the skills to slow down. It's given me the skills to breathe properly, to stand properly. It helps me in compassion. As an MP, I hold regular advice surgeries and I listen to the woes and troubles of my constituents. And I need to make sure that I don't get compassion overload or compassion fatigue. I need to connect with those people, with those issues, and open my heart and open my mind to the issues that they're raising with me. It's helped me in my concentration. It's helped me in my gratitude, work-life balance, not responding instead of reacting, concentration, empathy, compassion. All of these are gifts of the mind, which I think we're actually born with, but get sucked out of us during childhood, and especially when we start working and in education, when we teach children to pass exams, we hold up a hoop and say, jump through it, and jump through this one, and jump through that one. And all the time that they're jumping to get these grades, they are missing out on what I believe education should be about. And I taught in a Catholic school, which is an education about the whole child, not just the brain, but the not just academic skills, but interpersonal skills, spiritual skills, skills that make us into a whole human being. So that's what it's done. I feel it's done for me, and many of the MPs that have been on the course have said similar things. And can I also say that the World Economic Forum have devised a list of the 10 skills for the 21st century. And many of these, well, none of them are computer skills or math skills or technology skills. They're not subject-based. They are people-based. And you can see it if you Google Fourth Industrial Revolution skills, World Economic Forum. You will see a list of these skills, and they include cooperation, compassion, problem solving, and they are all soft skills, which I don't believe are taught in many academic institutions, but could be taught through the vehicle of mindfulness.